This is what we started off with. It was this country idyll, and as you can see, it was just a bare patch of land with brown grass there. I was able to completely transform this bare patch of ground into a forested wonderland with a log cabin. As you can tell, this is no longer a bare patch of dry farmland. Here we come right to the front of the house. As you can see, part of it at least is actually a log cabin. And then we have a nice little porch and a wooden fence around our little front yard. Figured we'll just have a little yard right by the house. But on our front porch, we have a bench and a couple of rocking chairs. And then we'll open the front door. And the first thing we have is this nice little entry area. We have a place to put muddy boots and shoes. And you can see there's, some coats hanging because an area like this is bound to get chilly at times. This cabin we are imagining is somewhere in Canada, probably in Canadian Rockies, because you will see that we have some Canada-specific decorations going on. So we've got some ski boots here and some ice skates over there because I am assuming that, in the wintertime, this area would have snow and ice. And here you see, we had to actually go up a couple stairs to get to the main level of the house. And then we have a little sunken living room over here. This was quite a trick. I really wanted to try and make a sunken living room, and I was trying to think of what I could do to raise the rest of the floor, since you can't actually go down into the ground. There are basements on some of the buildings, but at the moment we can't create basements, and basements also would be a whole level below. So I don't know of any way to go just slightly down to do a sunken room. But if you build up the rest of the floor and leave one area, it makes it look like it is a sunken level. And I started off thinking about stacking packs of the kind of paneling that we put on the wall, those stacks of panels. I've seen people stack those up to do things sometimes, but one thing I realized quickly is that you cannot put furniture on top of those. So then I was going to use the benches for the sauna because they can be arranged next to each other to make larger surface areas, and you can stack them on top of each other. And you can actually put other furniture on top of that. But when I tried to do that, I could get to a certain point and then they would start popping out of place. And there was just no way. I could get a fairly large area to be covered, but eventually something would pop out of place and the whole floor would just kind of explode. And so that was not doing it. And then I remembered seeing in the game that they now have platforms that you can use. They did it where they had a wedding and you had to make a platform for where they were going to have the wedding ceremony. But you can see here that each of these sections of floor is actually a separate platform. Have various different shapes, squares and rectangles of different sizes that can go in there. And they also come with these little two-step stairs. And you can, put more than one of them together if you want wider stairs, which is what I did right here. Oops, I may have to go down here to put this back in place. And you might notice that the back sides of these platforms were white, and some of the areas were white, and others have this wood grain, and that is because the platforms you can actually cover with the wall coverings. These all started off white, and then I put wood wall covering over it. I'll start off walking over and seeing some of the main areas that are raised here. This is our kitchen. It's a nice big kitchen so that they can have lots of guests over and do lots of cooking for their guests. With this kitchen, I tried to fill most of the cupboards. I think there's a few here that are still empty, but you can see this over here is the coffee cupboard, coffee and tea. And then right below that, we have our little coffee maker and a little jar of cookies. So that's all together as a little coffee station. Might be a little hard to see in here, but we've got some other dishes in this cupboard. And then up above the sink, we have lots of boxes of cereal and some canned goods. Next to the sink, in addition to the things that would normally be there, the knife block, the timer, the bread box, and some dish soap would normally be sitting on the counter. But we've also got the bread box opened up, and we have several different breads out because, as you can see here, they were getting ready to start a meal. We've got some stew in the pot, another pot that probably has some stew or soup in it, because it looks like they're, preparing some cold weather foods and going to have some of those breads along with their soup and stews. And then in the cupboard above, we have lots of glasses, different kinds of glasses, clear and silvery and blue. If somebody wants just hot water for tea, there's a kettle that can be used on the stove. And then this cupboard, we have some baking supplies and some more canned goods, soup and things like that. And one of the things in this cupboard that was special is we have a jar of Canadian maple syrup. So, like I said, this build, there were several fun Canadian things. I just decided to imagine that this is a house in Canada. There's going to be some little Canadian touches here and there. Okay, we've got a wok down in this cupboard, and then under the sink, we've got some foil and dishwasher detergent and a sponge. And then over this way, we have a cupboard with some frying pans and a pot. And this cupboard has a pot and then a instant pot. It's not actually as little as you would expect. It's a pretty big cabin, but I figure this is a place where they probably have, family reunion get-togethers and things like that. So they need quite a bit of room. You can see somebody's been out picking apples recently. Here we've got our little dishwasher. And then I just put up these little fancy wooden dividers to divide the kitchen from the living room and dining room. So if we go down into our little sunken living room here, you can see, we've got the plaid on the couches. Seemed like a good thing for a foresty thing. I was thinking of loggers with their plaid shirts and stuff like that. We've got a lamp with a deer on it, and this picture for the wall, that came from the Steam Labs. Somebody created that, and I just really like that a lot. Looks like it's probably made out of metal or something, and it's got the mountains in the background, and then the trees and the reflection of the trees in the water. We've got some books for the people to read here, and then we've got, things under here, a VCR, got some things like that. We've got the rocking chair with a plaid throw over it. So we've got lots of different plaids in here. Here's another chair with plaid. And some ferns to kind of bring some of the outdoors inside. if we walk around this is our dining area over here. You can see the artwork I put up on the walls. I was looking for landscapes that seemed like they had mountains or forests, things of that sort. So we've got some dishes over in the cupboard, and I liked some of these dishes were supposed to be Christmas dishes, but they didn't have, Christmas trees or Santa. They had deer out in the snow. And so I thought those would really be a good thing for in a place like this. On the table, we have copper dishes. And if you look at the centerpiece, those vases, we've got the Canadian flag there. And we also have the napkin holders. It's hard to see them, but they are actually maple leaf napkin holders. And we've got some more plants on the walls with some abstract artwork that still is going with our mountains, forest, river theme. Now, I had to work hard on my windows for this room because when you elevate the floor of a room, you do not have as much place for windows. So these windows seem like they're fairly low, but they're actually windows that normally would be quite a bit higher. And actually, you can see some of the logs, because the way to make a log cabin is you have a log facing that goes on the outside of the building. It shows through where the windows are. Here we've got a couple aprons for people working in the kitchen, and then we've got a couple stairs here because it was too hard to do the raised thing throughout the house. But I felt like by doing this whole main area, it really did give a feel of the sunken living room. And so I felt like that was enough to elevate, to give that feel. And so I put stairs going down to some of the other areas because, like in this doorway, you'll notice there's no lintel over the door. That's because that's the only way to go through there. If you are trying to go upstairs onto a platform like this and you have a regular doorway, you will get stuck. So that's why I put the floors down lower in the areas that have doors so that you can get through them. And so over here, right off the main entry, we have a little bathroom, kind of a guest bathroom here. We've got lots of plants, lots of wood and plants and greenery. And then we have these cute little hand towels of moose. We've got some candles on the counter, a little place with some magazines or, some kind of reading material there by the toilet. This little table that the fern is on, if I can get back enough, you can kind of see that there is a deer under there. It's a decorative table and also has a couple more hand towels hanging from it. And then over here, we've got a really nice washroom. We've got the washer and dryer here, along with a big sink for any really dirty jobs that need to be done. We've got lots of cleaning supplies up on the wall on the shelves, along with an iron. And there is an ironing board over in the corner there. And we've got a bucket of cleaning supplies. Most of these items are from the Steam Workshop. And so again, thank you to all the creators who make such interesting objects for the game. And we have a broom and dustpan and a vacuum. And then over here, one thing that doesn't fit with the cleaning is this ski rack, because I thought that they might like to go skiing if they're in an area with lots of snow, but I didn't really have a good place to put the ski rack. And I thought, since this room had a little extra space, put that in there. And we have this nice picture on the wall that just looks like a pleasant meadow with some forest around it. And then this hallway here, once you go down the steps, is going to lead off to some bedrooms, another bathroom, as well as some other things. And we've got, again in the hallway, we have some artwork, some ducks in a pond, and let's see. Here we have a snowy landscape. And on this side, it's more of a fall landscape, but, forest with all the different colors of foliage. And then we have a window right at the end of the hall, and a little table shelf thing there with branches as the legs, nice and rustic, with some ferns on top that they might have gotten from out in the forest surrounding their house, possibly. Okay, over here, this door at the end of the hall is another bathroom. You can see that they like to display their Canadian pride in this bathroom. Oh, Moose, what's the matter? In this, we have a shower curtain with the maple leaf on it. We've got over here, you can see that this is a bathtub and it also has a shower head. Got some bath products and things down there on a little shelf. And then there's also this little rubber ducky that is red with the maple leaf on it. And then we've got the mirrored cabinets up here. And if you open these up, you will see, we've got a brush and comb and some scrunchies. There's some medicines in there. On this side, we have some more beauty products, a tube of toothpaste, and then some makeup down in that far cupboard. And then under the sink, we have various cleaning supplies. And some extra toilet paper stored in here, as well as some baskets with some towels in them. And then we have more towels in this tall cupboard and a blow dryer up on the top there. And over here, we have a bedroom. And they had several cute Canadian bedroom things. This bed has more of the moose pattern going on all over it. And then it has this pillow and some extra blankets with these colorful stripes. They had some other things with those stripes in with the Canadian things. These chairs also. So I guess that was a look that somebody at least considered was a Canadian look. You'll see we've got a couple more of the lamps with the deer on them. And then we've got this beautiful picture on the wall of a moose head with, snowy mountains and forest and a sunset going on in the background. Oh yeah, we've got this bench here, has a couple extra pillows on it, as well as some extra blankets if they get cold. And it provides them a place to sit, while they're putting their shoes on or whatever. And they also have a nice full-length mirror here that also has little lights hanging on it. And then they've got their wardrobe that has drawers as well. There's nothing inside them because so far I have not found that you can really put things inside of a wardrobe. And then we have this braided rag rug on the floor. And then across the hallway here, we have the Canadian flag room. Here we do have the red and black buffalo plaid that you really see around a lot these days. But we've also got this artwork on the wall of the Canadian flag, and then some blankets that have Canadian flags sewn in them. They look like they've got some knit panels alternated with these like fleece things of the Canadian flag or something like that. Have lanterns for their lights on the nightstand. We've got the wardrobe over here. Then here they've got a flag hanging on the wall. Their rain boots sitting here, and their rain boots are red with red plaid, and I think those are so cute. Over here, they've actually got a little couch so that they can, enjoy sitting down and relaxing in their room. And they've got a throw with Canadian flags on it, so they can be nice and cozy. And over here in the corner, we have Bessie Beaver. Bessie Beaver, who is the mascot for House Flipper, and she is holding a heart with a maple leaf on it. Here we've got some botanical things up on the wall with ferns and stuff like that. This is our second bedroom. Each of the bedrooms has some kind of Canadian theme. And I must say, I am not Canadian. I have never lived in Canada. I have visited. I was using things that were labeled as being Canadian in the Steam Workshop, or that to me seemed like they would go well for, something in Canada. The parts of Canada that I have been to were mostly wooded mountain areas. And so that's the kind of area that I was imagining. And because this is a log cabin. And so I thought, that a wooded area would be nice for that. And I actually made the forest around it because this started off a big plot of dry grass. There was nothing else here. And I built the cabin from scratch, and then I planted a forest. So I'm thinking this is probably a teenager in this room, and we've got a picture on the wall that I believe said that it was a picture of Calgary, although I could be remembering that wrong, but I think that it was labeled as being a picture of Calgary. And we've got a little snow globe over there that says Canada on it. And again, this striped bedding that I'm assuming that maybe has to do with a Canadian sports team or something that they considered was was representative of Canada. And I am thinking this teenager probably plays hockey, so we've got a hockey stick there on the wall and a hockey puck over here and some hockey skates in this wardrobe. Got some tennis shoes down there, but this pair of tennis shoes is actually the colors of a Canadian hockey team. I can't remember off the top of my head which team it is. If anybody knows, you can tell me in chat, but it was labeled as to what team it was. I just don't remember, but we've got some jeans there, some t-shirts, and then a little desk area over here where they can, do homework or, projects, whatever. And they've got a picture of a cat and a woman with a dog. So, those are probably some special photos to this teenager. We've got a bulletin board. And then we've got this hockey player cut out on the wall over here as a decoration. And so that's pretty much it for this room. I went with lights that are still rustic in a way, but in more of an industrial way for the teenager, instead of the sort of farm look of some of the other lighting that I used. And then we have another picture, and I don't remember for sure what this one is. Again, I believe it was a location in Canada, but of the two pictures, I don't remember for sure what location each of them is from. Just that they're supposed to be in Canada. And here we have a young child's room. This room, they had so many cute items for little kids. I think I'm going to have to move this to walk past there. I seem to have blocked that area. Move him over here for now. A lot of these were actually just in the base game. This carpet on the floor is in the base game, and they also made wallpaper that matched it. But I didn't end up using that wallpaper because in the Steam Labs, I found this other cute baby animal wallpaper that I thought was just so darling. And then we've got baby animal pictures for the walls. And I think most of the pictures are also from the Steam Lab. So just trying to get all the different animal things I could find. We've got a photograph of a wolf over here. They've got a little table and chair so that they can, you know, they're probably not getting schoolwork to do yet. They can sit there and do projects. And we've got some toys over here for them, including another Bessie Beaver. And then, you know, a stuffed rabbit. We've got another of the little rubber duckies with Canadian flag decoration on it. Some little forest animals. And over here we've got a whole wall of kids' books there. And then the night lights, they actually are from the base game. We've got a fox and a raccoon. And then the chair over here was from the Steam Workshop. I thought this would be a very cute room for a young child. We've got one more bathroom over here. Now, this one is not specifically decorated with Canadian decor like the other two bathrooms were, but it is decorated in sort of a forest or even jungle design. You know, we've got all these pictures of leaves and plants. I didn't have as much storage area in this bathroom, but we do have these shelves, and so I was able to put toothpaste and soap there, and then, you know, some vitamins and prescription medicines and things like that up on the top shelf. Make sure the kids don't get to those. It's pretty basic, but I managed to get a nice big walk-in shower, a rain shower, and there's also a shelf here so that they can have their shower supplies in there with them, and some plants hanging there so that they can enjoy the steam from the shower. But the other bathroom has a tub shower combo, and then they have the third half bath at the front of the house. And then I still had some extra room in this big building I made, and I thought, well, okay, we're going to build a big recreation room. But here we've got a very big seating area around a fireplace, a couple of long couches, but we also have this really fuzzy looking rug and some beanbag chairs and throw pillows and blankets. This throw over here, again, has Canadian flag on it. And we also have this little guy who is like a Canadian gnome. It's got the buffalo plaid hat with a maple leaf on it. And I thought that he was a real cute little decoration. And then we also have some things for fun back here. You know, we've got a pool table, a foosball table, musical things so that they can enjoy listening to music or playing music, singing along. And then the last thing in here is this shelf here. We've got, you know, lots of games on there, some magazines, some books, all kinds of things for people to entertain themselves with. This area does not have a TV. We had a TV in the sunken living room at the front of the house, and it had video games and things. But this room here is all about the non-electronic fun that they can have together. And then from here, we can go out these doors and see what's kind of the backyard. We had just that tiny fenced in area at the front, but here we have a nice big patio with a couple of picnic tables, a big barbecue, and some tables on each side with a couple of tools to use when barbecuing so that they have plenty of room to put things. And so they can enjoy cooking out right here on their little patio where they're just surrounded by forest. And like I said, this forest did not exist originally. I went and planted all the trees and plants here. I put down a combination of sand and wood chips because I didn't want dry brown grass. And here I thought it was kind of cool that we could have just this short little path into the woods and have a campfire here where they can sit around and sing songs around the campfire, make some s'mores. And then I'm trying to think what the best way to go from here would be. I think I'll start out this way. This path goes back to where we started around on the side of the house. So I'll walk us through here for a minute and take us back to the front of the house. I was trying to really think hard what kinds of plants you might expect in a forested area. So it's mostly the tall evergreens and a few shorter evergreens, but then with lots of ferns around the bases and some other shade-loving plants and a few bushes here and there. I've got some rhododendrons in here because I know up in Oregon and Washington, I know there's a lot of rhododendrons that grow there, and so I think that they would also grow well in Canada. I'm thinking of this as being sort of coastal forest area. Here is where we went to the right last time around to the front of the cabin, but this time I'm going to go instead across this little footbridge. When you go over the bridge, then we've got this nice little shelter area here where obviously they sometimes come and have a picnic. And we go back over that footpath, and if we take a left instead of going towards the house, this will take us for a little walk through the woods, and we may see some other things along the way. Like right here, the woods open up into a little meadow area. And here we've got, a little sheltered, not terribly sheltered, but slightly sheltered seat where you could sit and look out over a couple ponds here and the meadow and at the trees. So yeah, here we've got like some hostas and things of that sort, which again, I think would be, enjoying a nice shady environment under the trees. But here we've got another little pond and again, a seat. I think it's always nice to have a seat to sit and relax by a pond and just enjoy the scenery and watching the water, listening to it, listening to the breeze and the animals off, doing their things and the birds. And then here, again, we can follow the path around. This is going to go back around to the house there, or we can cut through this way and get to a slightly different part of the house. So there are just multiple different pathways, but all of them come back over here to the house one way or another. So they've just got lots of looping trails that they can follow when they, want to get away from it all a little bit. And so that is the tour of this house. And now I think I am going to go ahead and sell this property. I will do that here. First, I will submit the garden for a contest. It doesn't really fit the categories, but I'm thinking an English garden is somewhat naturalized. So I figure that would be the closest. Oh, and yeah, we got full points on that. Okay, nice. So that increased the value of the house by 50%. And then we will put it on auction and see. I bought this property for $37,851. It says that I have $682,000 profit. That's pretty good. I'm going to negotiate just because I can, and why not? I mean, I think that's plenty for a house, but I just want to see what I can get because that's part of the game. Okay, he's going to go ahead and give me more than that. So yeah, I will accept that. And there we go.